Now we'll discuss about the extensor retinaculum of the arm. So actually the external retinaculum is a deep fascia on the back of your wrist. So the deep fascia on the back of the wrist is thickened to form the extensor retinaculum. So if you remember, flexor retinaculum will be on the palmar side over here wrist joint, right? And extensor retinaculum will be back side, okay? So this extensor retinaculum is a deep fascia on back of wrist. It's thickened to form this and which holds the extensor tendons in place. So it's an oblique band which is directed downwards and medially, okay? And it is about 2 cm broad vertically. So now we will understand what are the attachments to it. So laterally, if you see, so how to find lateral and medial? Of course, radius side lateral, ulnar side medial. So laterally to the lower part of anterior border of radius, right? Lower part of anterior border of radius. And so it's laterally to the lower part of anterior border of radius and medially to the styloid process of ulna. Medially you see the styloid process of ulna, a triquetral bone and pisiform. Of course, here will be the triquetral and the pisiform on the ulnar side or the medial side, right? So these are the attachments. Now let us see what are the compartments which are involved. So mainly if you see here, there are mentioned there are having total 6 compartments, okay? So the retinaculum sends down the septa which are attached to longitudinal ridges on posterior surface of lower end of radius. If you see on posterior surface lower end of radius there are many compartments, right? In this way 6 osteofacial compartments, these are total 6 osteofacial compartments are formed on back of wrist. So the structures which are passing through each compartment from the lateral side to the medial side are, let us find out them. What are those? So each compartment is lined by, first we'll understand its features. Each compartment is lined by a synovial sheet, okay? Synovial sheet which is reflected onto the contain tendons, okay? So now we'll understand what are the compartments. So mainly our first compartment, if you see, it has the extensor pollicis brevis and the abductor pollicis longus, right? So what are these muscles? If you remember, just now we have discussed about the posterior compartment muscles of a forearm, right? In the posterior compartment muscles of the forearm, if you remember, the extensor pollicis brevis and the abductor pollicis longus are both the deep muscles, right? So these are also taking part in a anatomical snuff box. So remember the compartment 1. So let us try to make a mnemonic to remember them. So actually no need of mnemonic, you can understand by logic. Radius side means thumb side. So for the thumb side only you have anatomical snuff box and pollicis word means thumb. So extensor pollicis brevis, abductor pollicis longus. One is long muscle, one is short muscle, but one is extensor, one is abductor. So these both are in the first compartment which is on the thumb side, okay? Now going to the second compartment. In the second compartment you will find extensor carpi radialis brevis, extensor carpi radialis longus. If you remember, these both are your superficial muscles of a posterior compartment, right? Extensor carpi radialis brevis, extensor carpi radialis longus, because it's to the radius, so they are radialis. It's very easy to remember. Compartment 2, right? Next go into compartment 3. In compartment 3 you have only one muscle, that is a extensor pollicis longus. If you remember, this extensor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis brevis, abductor pollicis longus, all are the deep muscles of forearm and all are taking part in anatomical snuff box, right? If you remember the anatomical snuff box structures. So, but this extensor pollicis brevis, abductor pollicis longus in compartment 1, special compartment is given to our extensor pollicis longus. You can remember, like as it is long, they gave the separate compartment, okay? Next go into compartment 4. So compartment 4 mainly have extensor digitorum and extensor indicis. These both are also again the deep muscles of the posterior compartment of your forearm, right? Extensor digitorum which will go to the digits, extensor indicis which mainly goes to your index finger. Yeah, if you forget that, the extensor digitorum is actually a superficial muscle, but the extensor indicis is a deep muscle. So this is a 2 muscles here. One is a superficial muscle, one is a deep muscle, okay? Next coming to both are extensor. Next coming to compartment 5, that is extensor digiti minimi. This is also a superficial muscle of your posterior compartment. It is special for your little finger, right? Because it's an ulnar side. So as we are now coming to ulnar side, it is giving importance to little finger, okay? Next compartment 6, you have extensor carpi ulnaris which is a superficial muscle, right? So how to remember this in order? First, You remember that first on radius side you have thumb. So for thumb you have one extensor, one abductor. If both are same it would be not good. So they put one extensor and one abductor. Okay, just a simple thing to remember. So compartment 1, extensor pollicis, brevis. And as it's the first compartment, first only we should not keep the big muscle, right? So we'll put brevis, extensor pollicis brevis to your thumb, and also you give the abductor pollicis longus to your thumb. As we are giving shorter one in the form of extensor, so we'll give longer one in the case of abductor. Done. Okay, next go to compartment 2. It's very easy. All radialis, extensor carpi radialis brevis, extensor carpi radialis longus. Done. Next coming to compartment 3, extensor pollicis longus. Okay, as here it is missing, we'll give there. That's it. So only if you remember compartment 1, then you can easily remember compartment 3. Next going to compartment 4, you have extensors, extensor digitorum, extensor indicis. Next compartment 5 to your little finger because ulna side, extensor digiti minimi. Compartment 6, of course ulna, extensor carpi ulna. It's very simple to remember. So once again let us revise. Compartment 1, extensor pollicis brevis, but abductor pollicis longus. Abductor 1 is longer, right, but extensor 1 is smaller. Next coming to compartment 2, extensor carpi radialis longus and extensor carpi radialis brevis. Done. Next coming to compartment 3, you have your extensor pollicis longus because it's missing in the compartment 1, right. Next coming to your compartment 4, you have extensors, extensor digitorum and your extensor indicis. Next coming to compartment 5, now as you are coming to ulna side, specially you will give to your digiti minimi, that is extensor digiti minimi for your little finger. Now ulna of course extensor carpi ulnaris. That's it. Very simple. So we have completed the extensor retinaculum. So we have next are dorsal digital expansion.